One of the biggest and most common milestones of becoming an adult is learning to drive your very own motor vehicle. Of course, driverless cars are literally happening as we speak, so soon the milestone will need to change. Perhaps one day everything we do will be done for us by robots, and that clearly always works out well for everyone in the movies. I do like the idea of letting my car drive itself whilst I have energetic sexual battles with my fellow passengers in the seats. But on the other hand, you would kind of feel like you were being delivered like a ham joint in the back of a Tesco van. Anyway, for now, I'd like to pass on my thoughts and advice on learning to drive.
What a pity.
First things first, you should start as you mean to carry on. So the very first thing to do is to decide around October-November time that you want to now learn to drive, so that everyone you know is pressured into buying your first block of lessons for you. The next thing to do is to adopt the correct mindset so you go into this thing with eyes open. Everyone else on the road wants to kill you. They are all angry, they are all in a rush, and they all hate your guts. As a learner, you will be scum to everyone else. To regular drivers, you will be the physical embodiment of that annoying cramp that you get in your leg when you wake up in the middle of the night and you turn over and your calf muscle clenches incredibly painfully. That's you in a car. You will get lessons with one of two types of company. First, the massive national company who will assign a clone of some sort who will certainly drive a Ford Fiesta to your house, and Bill or Bob or whatever drone name they're given will go over a tome of driving rules and jargon. In my case, he pulled out a literal mini road on a giant clipboard with little magnetic toy cars so that he could mime out driving actions, which was quite goofy and fun and instructional and slightly arousing. Maybe a magnet thing. You'll get a bland but detailed lecture of basic road rules that you won't remember or indeed ever follow. The other type will be, of course, the local driver for local people type, a chain-smoking sex offender who drives either a really nice Mercedes or a really not nice Toyota Ding Dong or whatever. He'll spend the first 20 minutes of your lesson not being there because he's late, and it's always a guy with a real local name, Alan, John, Paul, or other names with 4 letters. This one will describe how to turn on the engine and also point out the exact name of the local Chinese takeaway he wants you to drive him to whilst he phones his dealer. So, after the instructor finally shuts his disgusting face and stops smoking for 2 minutes and stops arranging shady handjobs behind the nearest Asda smoking shelter, you will finally start the car and spend what must be 50 fucking minutes moving the pedals slightly up and down. UK instructors will often say, move the clutch up a width of a pound coin. Fucking what? What kind of foot wizard do I look like? I can't even do that with my hand, let alone my foot. This is to find the biting point, the mystical exact spot that moves the car and sounds like a fun sexual manoeuvre. Now this might be slightly confusing for an American audience, so I will explain. This basic instruction is for manual cars with the fancy stick thing in the middle that moves in more than 2 directions. Manuals are for people who actually like driving. Slamming the gear stick from 3rd to 4th can be quite exciting and makes you feel that you're doing something really cool and not just sliding up a slipway to go on a motorway in a really shit car. Like I've said before, the gear stick is essentially the car's dick, so you can either enjoy a manual driving experience whilst jerking off your car, or you can hate gay people. It's your choice, Satan. On the other hand, there are automatic cars for children and old women, and for people who can't grasp the idea of moving one of their feet a little bit to the side. I'm just joking, of course. Anyone who drives a manual in heavy traffic knows the pain of flicking the clutch up and down a million times, changing up to second and then third because you think the traffic has moved, but then some scumbag in a white van pulls into the microscopic space in front of you, so back down to first you have to go for the 20th time in 2 minutes. Some people over here in the UK criticise automatics as being like driving a go-kart. I've never understood that. Have these people ever been go-karting? It's fucking amazing. That sounds like a great description. So basically there are advantages and disadvantages. Mostly, do you want to have a relaxing experience in traffic? Or do you want to have a freakishly strong left foot? It's up to you. Anyway, next, your instructor will of course teach you the tried and tested method of steering the wheel that no one uses, called feeding the wheel. The kind of thing that sounds like lesbian sex slang. It relates to fondling the wheel backwards and forwards, shuffling your hands backwards and forwards in the way that you personally would shuffle awkwardly backwards and forwards, whilst listening to your anti-vaxxer co-worker ranting and raving about metal shavings in the water supply or about the secret gay history of Abraham Lincoln. That one is an actual event from my work week, by the way. Then, finally, you get to the best part. Slamming your foot on the accelerator, letting the clutch slam up and stalling the car like an absolute bell. All it takes is many hours of slightly moving your feet up and down in an alternating pattern to figure out how to work the pedals correctly. Like building up a muscle memory in the manner of Bruce Lee, except you don't have giant lats like a cobra head and you can't break spines with your feet and you don't get to smash people's skulls in with nunchucks. So in all the interesting ways, you're not like Bruce Lee, but in this one very specific way, you are exactly like Bruce Lee. The thing you have to focus on at all times is, yes, learning to drive is difficult, stressful and boring, but eventually you get to experience the tension, back pain and repressed anger of real driving. One day, with the right amount of practice, you'll get to hate everyone else around you, have no understanding of the concept of time, destroy the environment, and develop a passionate disgust for lycra wearing thrush delivery people cutting about on bikes. Get a job, cyclists. The best advice I can give when learning to drive the actual car is look at everything around you all the time. Well, technically the best advice is just get the bus and let other people stress out. But when you are driving the car, your instructor will be feeding you vast amounts of information, or if you are a young woman, he will be feeding you clunky compliments about your hair and quote-unquote accidentally touching your leg as he tries to lure you back to his 4th floor apartment with sexy talk of a chicken korma and one of those unfortunate beds that you pull out from a cupboard that always signifies freshly divorced and ready to shed tears again. Avoid at all costs. So, remember to look at your speedometer, I think that's what it's called, frequently, so you know how fast you still need to go to overtake that woman in the Renault Clio who will be super impressed with your fast driving. Look in the rear view mirror because nothing is more important than the past, which is metaphorically and literally behind you. Look also to both right and left wing mirrors because you need to know what lane is quiet, what car you want to cut in front of, and also what the side of your own car looks like, because you can never set the mirrors just right, so don't even bother. Also, look at your instructor as they talk endlessly, because your social conditioning makes it seem rude to have someone talk to you for more than 5 seconds without looking at them at some point. Look at your gear stick, because you need to figure out what gear you're in, and they helpfully put little numbers on it for you to see, and then they tell you not to look at that, but I mean that's clearly a test, so look often at your gear stick, I say. You should also, I suppose, look out the big window in front of you, because you need to read all the traffic signs that are flying past the car. You need to look for actual traffic lights, other cars in front of you, because you'll need to maintain a decent space between you and the car in front and the car behind, and the car to your side and the pavement or sidewalk. And also keep an eye out for the various pedestrian crossings, low-flying falcons. Let's see what else. Errant prams that have fallen out onto the road, kind of vaguely like that scene from The Untouchables. Pets. Children that have escaped the nearest BBC sex dungeon. You also need to keep an eye on the weather for driving conditions. And ultimately, your destination itself, where you will need to find a parking spot that won't result in an instant fucking jail sentence because fuck this country. You know, God forbid that anyone in the council understands that I would like to park my car within 50 fucking miles of anywhere I'm going. Pricks. You will almost certainly need to install several extra eyeballs because expecting one person to see all the things you're supposed to see whilst moving 30 miles per hour is fucking insane. Another set of ears might also be helpful. Honestly, people get stressed about doing the driving test, but I cannot even begin to stretch my perspicacity to suitably enunciate my approbation at the sanctified hush you will relish during the actual test. My actual test examiner, who looked exactly like Fonzie, said literally 2 words during the actual test, and one of those was which makes it sound like I was sucking him off. Which is probably why I passed with only 4 minors, despite crashing into 3 minors. A play on words there. Some highbrow Fraser humour for you white motherfucker. Anyway, I would also suggest partaking in the kind, you know what I'm saying? Of course, the quote-unquote laws of the land make it quote-unquote highly illegal and stupid to use weed or marijuana before driving, but come on, buddy. If you had already passed your test and had driven to work one time during rush hour, being tailgated by some absolute dick champion in a van, getting screamed at by some chain-smoking mess in her pyjamas for daring to wait until a light was green before moving a centimetre forward, being stuck behind a tour bus coated in grime and seagull shit, taking a group of Egyptian tourists around the whole city who have never seen rain before, so they plod along at 8 miles per hour so they can all smear dirty rainwater in their faces, whilst you are 10 minutes late for the job that you don't want, and as a temp you are literally one loud sneeze for being fired from anyway. And if you've had to go to the petrol filling up place at like 6 in the morning to spend like 30, pieces of money filling up your tank, if you've done all that in one fucking day, knowing you'll need to do it every fucking day for the rest of your pitiful, pointless, fruitless, hopeless, sexless life, realising that you might as well just get the goddamn bus to work or start putting phone numbers and saucy pictures up in public toilets. If you can deal with all that, if you can accept that truth and not instantly use the nearest staircase to practice your cartwheel knife juggling trick badly, then you already have the Buddhist-like temperament and the level of restraint of one of those microphone-looking guard people wearing a girdle and surrounded by grabby American tourists who doesn't instantly start bayoneting everyone in sight. And these are the attributes required to learn to drive easily. So go fucking do it. Do it now. Lick it good. Suck this pussy just like you should my neck, my back, lick my pussy and my crack.